there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com with this week's episode of the Tuesday Brewsday. Today we're going to be taking one of the cards from my top 10 cards that I want to brew around in Core 2020, the Ajani Strength of Pride, which I believe was the #1 card, and throw it in a Soul Sisters deck for Modern. So here is Ajani Strength of Pride is a 4-mana Planeswalker. The +1 you gain life equal number of creatures you control plus the number of Planeswalkers you control. The -2 creates a 2/2 Ajani's Pridemate, and the 0, which is the ability that we're really looking for this card in the deck, is going to be if you have at least 15 life or more than your starting life total, you exile Ajani Strength of Pride and each artifact and creature opponents control. So it's going to be able to get rid of all of your opponent's artifacts, creatures, and then allow the next Ajani to start pumping out 2/2 Ajani's Pridemate. So we're going to run a 3 of in the deck. I'm not quite sure if it wants more than 3. It probably only wants 2 in the deck. However, I'm going to throw this in an old school Soul Sisters decks in the Martyr of the Sand style deck because the 15 life I think is be very important for Ajani. So Soul Sisters is very versatile right now as far as options you can put in the Soul Sisters deck. I have played many of them. There was an interesting one on MTG Goldfish that was using Sky Hussar and Oketra, as well as Oketra's Monument, and I thought that one was pretty neat. However, I'm just going to go back to an Old Faithful version. This is very similar to the version that I won a PTQ with a long time ago and actually got my Pro Tour invite to Pro Tour Dragon's Maze, and this is the Martyr Soul Sisters brew. So we're going to start off with 4 Martyr of the Sands. This is going to be the card that gets us up to the high enough life total for both Serra Ascendant and Ajani Strength of Pride. And then we're going to run a lot of Soul Sisters. This particular deck is going to be running 4 Arctic Champions, 3 Soul Wardens, and 3 Soul Attendants. So between the 7 Soul Sisters, we're going to have a lot of triggers off the Ajani's Pridemate. I might try another version instead of these Force of Virtues in the deck with the Archangel Thune. Archangel Thune gets kind of awkward though because I only like to run Archangel Thune in Legion Landing and a higher land count deck. I don't like running Archangel in a 21 land count deck, and typically you end up cutting like the Martyr of Sands and Squadron Hawks for those particular lists. We might try that out because even in that sort of build, it's not tough to get up to 35 life, but I want to guarantee we get up to 35 life as quickly as possible to try to find the synergies with the Ajani Strength of Pride. All right, so on to the next one. We talked about Squadron Hawk. Squadron Hawk has the way of filling up the hand for the Martyr of Sands, as well as filling up the hand for Force of Virtue. I'm only running 2 Force of Virtues in this particular deck. You can definitely run more. I've had a lot of success the last time I tried Soul Sisters with Force of Virtue. I slightly like it better than the 2-mana enchantment that does basically the same thing. All white creatures honor the pure. All white creatures get +1/+1. This one allows you to cast it for free by just exiling a Squadron Hawk, most likely. So, or any other card that you might not be able to cast, like a Ranger of Eos. There have been plenty of games where I have lethal on board if I can get an Anthem out for free, and Ranger is in hand. You have a Spectral Processions, for example, that's already been triggered, already been cast, and then you just need to swing for lethal, and exiling a spell or maybe even a duplicate Ajani Strength of Pride might be the game-winning play for Force of Virtue. So we're going to keep an eye on this card. Like I said, there are a lot of different cards you can put in a Soul Sisters brew right now. Possibly I'll start looking at many other brews. We'll revisit this from time to time. It still is my baby. It still is the deck that when I think of Magic the Gathering, or at least my career in Magic the Gathering, it definitely shines the brightest. So let's go on to the other cards, which is, of course, Ajani's Pridemate, which gets +1/+1 counter every time you gain life, and that's incremental life gain. So basically, if you gain 50 life in one turn off of like a Martyr Sands, that's only 1 +1/+1 counter. So that's one of the other reasons we're running a lot of these Soul Sisters. And of course, Ajani Strength of Pride is going to pump out more Ajani's Pridemates and then get out more threats. So it'll be interesting if that actually that -2 ability is used a lot in this video series. Then we have the Ranger of Eos. Ranger of Eos is going to go tutor up Martyr of Sands and Serra Ascendant. Typically, you go get Serra Ascendants to be your finishers, and it also can get Soul Attendants. You can put some cards in your sideboard, some flex cards. However, my particular sideboard for this is going to be very, very specific towards two specific decks, Tron and well, I'd say Tron and then any sort of graveyard deck on the other end. So that would be our sideboard. So we don't have any sideboard slots for Ranger of Eos. The last but not least is Spectral Possession. This is still 3 mana for 3 white spirit creature tokens. They trigger off your Soul Sisters. They become big with the Force of Virtues. I think this is a very, very good card. It also is a card that is the easiest to activate the Windburst Heights. So if you're going to run one Windburst Heights, you do run Spectral Processions. Windburst Heights does lose a lot of value in this deck without Archangel Thune, but I still think it's going to be a pretty decent addition rather than just basic lands. We're going to be running Flagstones of Trocaire and the Ghost Quarter combo. So basically what this is Flagstones has no downside of actually running it unless you run into like a Blood Moon or something. However, if you do need to get that double white or triple white for Spectral Procession, you can always Ghost Quarter your own Flagstones, and then you can go get 2 planes with that combination. Ghost Quarters are really in here to kill any sort of land that needs to die, like a Tron land. There are also ways you can... not really in this particular deck with Sun Titan. Sun Titan's another version you can run in Soul Sisters. I like it more in Martyr Proc. Getting back Ghost Quarters per turn, and then they end up becoming Wastelands in the majority of modern decks that run very, very low basic land counts. So, but in this particular deck, we're just going to get rid of problematic lands with the Ghost Quarters, and then it does have the implication for Flagstones. That's why I do like it over the Ixalan land that does a very similar thing. And then we're going to run one of Mistveil Plains. This one's pretty good with Squadron Hawks. It allows you to have basically unlimited Squadron Hawks. If you control another planes, you can put a card in your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It's also pretty good with Ranger of Eos. So you can throw or have your Squadron Hawks die, and then if you just keep one in your hand, then you can go tutor up the other one again and then throw it into play. So pretty good card. Anyway, that is the gist of the deck. We've all seen Soul Sisters. If you've been a fan of the channel, you've probably seen me play Soul Sisters before. If you're newer to the channel and don't know about Soul Sisters, well, hopefully this ends up being a pretty good video series. So sideboard, again, we are targeting Graveyard and Tron. So we're going to be very, very specific. 4 Rest in Pieces for any of the Graveyard decks, 3 Stony Silences for Tron and any sort of Hardened Scales or Artifact decks, 4 Damping Spheres for Tron and any other decks that cast multiple spells per turn, and 4 Path to Exiles for the if you need to get rid of like Dash Shadows or any sort of big threat like a Thing in the Ices, those type of things. Path to Exile is good. I don't like it in the main currently. I think that you don't really have room for it. You want to be doing your thing, and it really needs to come in if you absolutely need to take care of a specific creature. The majority of creatures in Modern you can just ignore in the Soul Sisters deck because eventually your Pride Mates and your Sarah's Ascendants will probably start outclassing them. All right, so let's get on to the games. Okay, match number 1. We have, yes, we'd like to play first. We have an okay hand here. We have the double Auric Champion, Soul Attendant, Nasera's Ascendant. I'm going to go ahead and keep it. 3 lands. It's not a mulligan hand because, I mean, this is what you expect from a 6-lander. We'll go ahead and throw out the Flagstones and then lead off with a Soul's Attendant. So we're in pretty decent shape. Out the gates, if we're going against Burn, this is a great hand versus Burn with the Auric Champions. It is a Blood Crypt, so I think these Auric Champions are going to shine. That's why I like to run them main. A lot of people do not. Let's go ahead and yes to this. Get a Glowspore Shaman and Satyr Wayfinder. So we are going against Hogaak. So we'll go ahead and throw out the Auric Champion. And that way we are in decent shape here. So opponent threw 2 cards they definitely didn't want in the graveyard. We will not block the Stitcher Supplier. So let's see if our opponent can find like a Faithless Looting. We get a lot better with Rest in Peace coming in from the sideboard. We'll probably mulligan quite aggressively for that Rest in Peace. Overgrown Tomb. And our opponent is going to cast a Satyr Wayfinder. And now... Oops, we're yielding for some reason. I am so rusty with MTGO, I don't know how to put these triggers on, so bear with me while I click through these triggers. Satyr Wayfinder finds the Vengevine, but it doesn't work with this particular. And the Gravecrawl is going to be kind of bad here. Opponent does get Hogaak out, and that also will get a Vengevine, I believe. But we're in decent shape, actually, with the Hogaak coming out and gaining 2 life. And Vengevine also Vengevine is going to get some damage in. The Trample is what pushes Hogaak over the top. Can't chump block it. We're going to be taking the 4, which is unfortunate here. Yeah, I don't think I do block. if we can get, I mean, Force of Virtue kind of sucks at this point. So I think I'm just going to go Plains here, and we're going to throw out another RX Champion and get some more life. And then also put out a Sarah Senate, which almost puts us up to where we need to be. However, we are one off of getting up to that life total. So I don't think we're going to be able to win this. If we could get the Saracen up to a 6/6 and start attacking in, we'd be okay. Like the best case scenario we can draw is a Squadron Hawk off the top. And I'm just let this go through, though. That's the good thing, is we can actually take 12 damage and still be at 17. And our opponents really can't cast a lot of creatures to put us up. And casting Graveclaw would be absolutely stupid here. I think even casting Bloodghast was a mistake on my opponent's part. If we get a Ajani's Primate out, we can start becoming bigger than Hogaak. So there is an Ajani's Primate. Awesome. So that was perfect. Fatal Push, though, is definitely a card that can stop our Ajani's Primate. But our Ajani's Primate is going to be able to now block the Vengevines. And we'll also put a Windburst Hideout, which is interesting what it can be underneath it. Oh, so we have Ajani's Strength of Pride, but I actually don't think it's the right call. I think just Ranger is the right call to put it underneath it. And that allows us, if we attack in, to get a Ranger. So we're only taking 8 life, which is just 15. If our opponent Fatal Pushes, we're in bad shape. I don't know why I didn't block the Hogaak with double RX Champion last turn, because I'm a bad player. That would have saved me 2 life. These have protection from black. The trample damage is still going to go through, but let's see if that actually ends up being a problem. Okay, now we'll double block. We'll actually not be bad. So we're going to take 6 here. Trample still goes through even though the other one was absorbed. So we're down to a 17. And unfortunately, it's a land. And I don't want to be attacking with the Ajani's Pridemate. This can get blocked by Vengevine. Sarah's Ascendant can get blocked. Probably is the right case scenario just to lose a... Gets a Stitcher out of the way, too. All right, so let's go ahead and attack in with the Giant's Pridemate. And, yeah, that's fine. Just so we can actually get... Let's go to blocks, let our opponent block. On the Sarah Ascendant there, or on the Soul Attendant. And that's fine. We'll go ahead and cast it. Which does go and get us 2 more Sarah's Ascendants. I actually think 2 more Soul Wardens is the right call here. Because we need that Ajani's Primate just to be huge. We do lose a Sarah's Ascendant and a Soul's Attendant. Opponent finds 2 Hogaaks in the graveyard. Pretty lucky there. But we are able to cast the Soul Attendant, which is going to get the Primate up even bigger. And thin out our deck a little bit with the Flagstones. Not a big... Oh, should have got the Mistveil Plains. That was my bad. And I don't know if I want the Force of Virtue. We can actually just hard cast it next turn, so we'll just put out another one. Forgot that was one of the other things I didn't talk about in the deck tech, was the ability to actually fetch up the Mistveil. But I am rusty, so hope you'll forgive me. Okay, so we do have RX Champions that can block again on the Hogaak. We have a 14/14 Ajani's Pridemate, which now is pretty good unless our opponent can find a Fatal Push. Don't know if they have room in the main for Fatal Push. Bloodghast is just going to come in, so we'll go ahead and kill it and block the other one here and go okay on the RX Champion. And we'll take 7. And if our opponent wants to put the Bloodgust out, that's pretty bad play. I think up. Let's see what our opponent decides to do. Terrible play by my opponent. Terrible, terrible play. Because we gain way more life than that thing's ever going to do. And I think I start attacking with Ajani's Primate, actually. We'll have to wait and see what our draw is. Saracen, it's fine. We'll gain us some more life. Putting us up to 1, 2... and our opponent scoops. So there you go. Hogaak on a very, very quick one is no match for Soul Sisters. So let's go to the sideboard. I don't know if I want to actually bring in Path to Exiles. We're going to bring in Rest in Peace. Path to Exile is... does my opponent bring in anything that wipes the board as far as what I need Force of Virtues in? I think we can take out the Force of Virtues. And I'm not quite sure if squads are the right route in this deck either. If we take all the squads out, we have some room for some Path to Exiles. And at that point, we might as well take the Martyrs out too. I don't know if getting up to Ajani Strength of Pride is that crucial. I might end up kicking myself for that, or maybe Spectral Processions for the Martyrs back in. Keep in 2 Spectral Processions. Something like this. I don't know if I want to try to make the room for the Squadron Hawks by cutting maybe some Rangers. Getting a 6/6 flyer, though, might be the right play as quickly as possible. All right, we're going to try this. But I think we're in great shape. We're in very, very good shape against the Hogaak deck. And if Soul Sisters actually competes versus it, I can tell you it does very well against Arclight Phoenix. This could be a legit deck in Modern right now. But the thing is that most decks are able to have very transformative sideboards, a lot better than we are. Unfortunately, I think this is a mulligan with 1 land. It would be ideal with 2 lands, just any one of these cards gone. We'll go ahead and mulligan it. And unfortunately, I'm going to keep this one. And we're going to put the Ranger back on bottom and be done. And hopefully we draw a land. If we can draw a land, we can always just rest in peace and be in great shape. Thoughtseize takes out the Rest in Peace. Not too terrible. It's slowing my opponent down. Now we can actually go the Soul Attendant for Ajani's Pridemate. My opponent might actually just go for the Ajani's Pridemate. Yeah, it goes for Rest in Peace. Not that big of a deal, though. You saw we actually were able to stabilize versus Hogaak with a very similar 2 Soul Sisters. They probably brought in the other Dredge land. Unfortunately, it was not a land. We'll throw out the Soul Attendant. Opponent also had to pay 4 life for that Thoughtseize. But, I mean, mulligan once with 1 land. I don't see ourselves mulliganing with 2 down to 5 lands. Like, that's what makes Thoughtseize so good in this particular deck is... or in this particular London mulligan, is if people try to mulligan aggressively for their sideboard card and you're on the play, you can just rip it out with a Thoughtseize. However, Thoughtseize did slow down our opponent significantly. Hedron Crab, though, since I don't have ways to really interact, is going to be tough. Didn't find anything too crazy so far in the graveyard. Like the Dredge 2 -1/-1 card is one I'm worried about. Again, just found all lands here. But I think we are still... yeah, we're still in good shape. Faithless Looting doesn't find anything significant either. Just a ton of lands. Alright, so Windburst Heights is disappointing that it's a tap land. But we'll go ahead and hide away. And hopefully find... a Rest in Peace is actually pretty good to throw underneath it. Throw the rest on bottom. And I almost feel like Path to Exile in this Hedron Crab. Getting it gone. Oh, that's a tough choice. I think it's just another Soul Attendant, though. Don't know if that's the right play. I can see the merit of running a Path to Exile on the Hedron Crab to stop that engine down, but I think, I mean, there's enough juice in the bin right now. Our opponent also got rid of... there's 2 fetch lands. So the Bloodgust is going to come back into play. There's another fetch land. My opponent's going to find the entire... entire deck in their graveyard. Satyr Wayfinder and a Carrion Feeder. I don't know. We're still in pretty good shape if they didn't find the Hogaak. Up to 24 life. Still hasn't found a Vengevine in the graveyard either. Down to 10 life for my opponent. We do have a Path to Exile for a Vengevine. We'd have a Ajani's Pridemate that's going to outclass a Vengevine coming up. Wonder why my opponent kept in the Bloodghast. I don't know if that's the... No, Bloodghast probably should have come out. We're actually going to be 30 life here. There's Hogaak finally. So we have the Hogaak most likely coming out here by tapping everything and eating some of these lands. But we'll have a 6/6 flyer and Path to Exile the Hogaak. So, pretty decent. Oh, that's going to put me down. No, it's not. Because we'll be at 32, and then we'll go back up. So there's the Serra Ascendant. And we'll keep up the Path to Exile. Boom. Okay, we are in great shape now. We have Path to Exile for the Hogaak. And then it depends if my opponent attacks in with stuff, though. We got to be really careful. We're gaining 6 life. Ah, I did have the Fatal Push for the Serra Ascendant. All right, so which one would I rather get rid of? Vengevine gets outclassed. 2 cards still left in my opponent's hand. There's Faithless Looting. Gonna find more nonsense. Vengevine. My opponent's not gonna be able to get rid of it this turn. Unfortunately, I can't get that Rest in Peace. We have one on the bottom of our library and one right here. Hedron Crab. This is gonna find everything else. I think even getting rid of Vengevine might be the smart play. Because there's another Hogaak. Wonder if Mill's actually viable to stop these Phoenix decks and Hogaak decks. Another Bloodghast comes into play. Oh boy. 1 card left in my opponent's hand. We're up to 32. And another Convoke card. What's a free Convoke card? I have not a clue why my opponent is casting another Convoke. Oh, going to get the Vengevines out. Because there's 2 more Vengevines. So I'd actually would like to draw a land. What did my opponent get rid of? Gonna do the old Hogaak shuffle. Hogaak. However you say the stupid card. Someone in the comment section correct me. Hogaak. So found 3 of the Vengevines. There's 1 left in the deck. We're up to 40 life, though. Hopefully it's not another Fatal Push that's still in my opponent's hand. We'll Path to Exile one of them. See if they even have a basic left. They do have a basic left in 20 cards. And finds another Vengevine to get back from that. All right, we're just going to take the damage. Go down to 27. I'd actually like to draw a land here so we can just get my hand out. Unfortunately, I think it's like a Fatal Push that's still in my opponent's hand. We have to do Ajani's Pride Mate here. And pass the turn. 2 cards left in my opponent's hand. Okay, so we are going to block on the Glow Spore and just take the rest of the damage, which is 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I almost want to block one of these Bloodghasts just so that it comes back out and makes it bigger, but I don't think that's the route to go. So let's see, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Faithless Looting. Looking for that other Fatal Push. We do have a Rest in Peace if we attacked in. However, I don't think that's the right play to go. We'll go Soul Warden. And then Martyr, unfortunately, just has to play backup here. Or blocker here on one of these. We'll go up to 13. So this is going to be able to block the Hogaak. But we still could get out aggroed here, just because my opponent has all of their resources. And it was an Assassin's Trophy. Unfortunately, I think that's going to do it. We'll go on to another game. So 2 Assassin's Trophy, and they did find what they needed with the Faithless Lootings. We do need to get those. Yeah, I don't think I change anything here. We need a Rest in Peace in our opening hand. And Johnny's Strength of Pride is really strong in this one for getting rid of Vengevines and Bloodghast and whatnot. I'm liking our chances. I think that we have a pretty good chance. This is the problem that people are calling for a banning for the Hogaak. Just it's so the times that you do have the nuts in your hand, like the Fatal Push, the Thoughtseize, followed up with the Hogaak, is pretty good. Double Path to Exile. This just seems like a pretty terrible hand. We're gonna mulligan it, and unfortunately, this isn't much better. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have kept the Path to Exile, so I'm going to keep it and unfortunately throw a Ghost Quarter on the bottom and start with the Soul Attendant. But we're in bad shape. No Rest in Peace after another mulligan. Both the Path to Exiles. Yeah, hindsight Path to Exiles probably need to come out. They're pretty garbage versus Hogaak with multiples. And yeah, I can see that you do have to use a lot of resources. See, my opponent just Thoughtseize me here. Has a Thoughtseize both. Nope, Faithless Looting. So if I could draw into a Rest in Peace and just rip out my opponent's graveyard, and then be in really good shape. However, I have a feeling we're going to be drawing lands this game. So there's an Arctic Champion. We're starting to get in better shape with the Arctic Champion. Still not liking it. Yeah, Path to Exile, not a good play. Not a good plan, I don't think. I think they come out, or don't come in. And then you just keep in cards that really slow down the opponent. I don't think Damping Sphere is the right route, but I'd actually like to hit a Squadron Hawk, or of course a Saracen would be okay. Something like a Ranger would be good. Spectral Procession would be okay. Puts out a lot of flyers. Opponent is doing a lot of damage themselves. Bloodghast is quite weak versus the Arctic Champion route. Again, I don't think it's where my opponent should be keeping that card in. Needs to find just hard casting a Bloodghast. That's in pretty bad shape. And there we go. We have the Rest in Peace. Boom. At least it gets rid of some resources here. Doesn't allow us to go get Oops, I shouldn't have played that. Should have played it the other way around. Whoops. I did the rest in peace the wrong order. As the flagstones. Okay, did have the rest in peace, or did have the force of vigor for the rest in peace, but I think rest in peace already did its job. So opponent had to also exile another Hogaak. So Bloodghast gone. Gonna put it back in, which we gain our life for the Bloodghast. Another planes. Womp womp. Opponent's going to be down to an 11 with not a lot of resources. Cracks the polluted delta. Go ahead and block off this Bloodghast. Bloodghast comes back out. We're gaining our life back, so not doing a lot with the damage there, not really going anywhere. And a Vengevine, just going to hardcast it. There's our Pridemate. That should be enough, unless our opponent needs to find an Assassin's Trophy. We do have the Path through Exile for possibly the Vengevine. Satyr Wayfinder, that's going to get my good old Ajani's Pridemate quite large. And hits another Vengevine in the graveyard. And a land. We'll take out a Vengevine. Don't care if my opponent gets another land. It's not relevant. They do not have a land? That's interesting. They took out their basic swamp, or this basic swamp must be in hand. Is that what they revealed with the Satyr Wayfinder? Must have been a basic land in hand. Should have a revealed one, though. In their hand? No, yes, basic swamp. Okay, was in their hand. Alrighty, so we have a 6/6. Another land, unfortunately. We're going to get in with our good old Pridemate. It's going to get blocked by the Satyr Wayfinder, I'm assuming. No, but it does get Assassin's Trophied. We'll keep this in our hand just in case our opponent has a Thoughtseize. They have to burn a Thoughtseize. Now I'm not liking our chances as much. We can get outdrawn here. Our opponent needs to find like Faithless Lootings as quickly as possible. Glowspore Shaman. This is going to give us some padding, though. They need to find another creature they can cast. Sigil Supplier in the bin is not where they want. Doubt they're going to put a land on top of their library. Nope, they choose not to. So just one card in hand. I hope it's a Thoughtseize. Decides not to attack in the Bloodghast this time around. And Spectral Processions is good, because this gives us a lot of A lot of life here. And some good flyers that can start beating down our opponent. A lot of dead cards my opponent can draw now, like Fatal Pushes and Assassin's Trophies are pretty bad. If they do have anything that gives -1/-1, there is the scoop. All right, so again, pretty straightforward matchup. I like the chances of Soul Sisters versus the #1 deck, the 58% win percentage of the last major tournament, and has also done very well at the Star City Games and subsequent tournaments. So if this is legit versus this particular deck and can beat a few of the other matchups, maybe we'll have to give Soul Sisters a run down a tournament. We are in a tournament right now, 1-0. We'll go on to the next match. Alrighty, match number 2. Yes, we'd like to play first. Unfortunately, a tap land is a mulligan. And much better, I think we'll put a Serra Ascendant on the bottom. And lead off with a Serra Ascendant. And we still have the Serra Ascendant Ajani Pridemate combo here, if we get to attack with it. Opponent puts out just a Mausoleum Wanderer. I think it's worthwhile to make a trade. Because I don't see this as Saracen getting large enough. See if my opponent does decide to make the trade. Does not. So we just get in the free damage. Do have to worry about Reflector Mages still. They sometimes are used in Spirits, but we have a 3/3 proactive card now against Spirits, which is pretty good. Spirits is sometimes a difficult deck. It actually can be difficult because it reminds me of Merfolk. This is where Ajani is going to be the key card to exile their cards. But so far it's 19-19. We have a 3/3 now that can just get in for damage. Another Flagstone. So let's go ahead and go Soul Attendant. And then we'll throw out the Flagstones, keep this one, thin out our deck. Oh, didn't get the Misfailed Plains again. I am a bad player. All right, remember. There's a Misfailed Plains in the deck. Get in with both of these. Opponent might make the trade now for the Serra Ascendant. I think it's a bad trade because of all the Lords that potentially can come out. Opponent should sacrifice it in response. Wow, my opponent's as bad as I am. Should have sacked it so I didn't gain a life. Is what it is, though. Okay, cool. So we do have to worry about Spell Quellers. I won't be attacking into a Spell Queller. Best case scenario, opponent just throws out like a Drog Skull to make the Mausoleum Wanderer a 3/3 until end of turn. Hexproof on the Drog Skull Captain. But Pridemate is going to get huge. Not too worried like a Path to Exile because it gives us more mana to deal with. If our opponent taps out, we just get a free Ranger. All right, so Selfless Spirit. Get a +1 counter on the Giant's Pridemate. Going down to a 19 again. Fair enough. This counters an instant spell. Insert sorcery spell. Okay. 15-19 with a 5/5 on board. Not a lot of 1-drops for Spirits. The one problem with Spirits is they need another good 1-drop to really solidify the deck as a very legitimate deck. So, assuming Path to Exile is going to come out on the Johnny's Pridemate. Nothing. Alright, so let's go ahead and Ghost Quarter. And Ranger. We'll do this pre-combat so we get a bigger... And here comes the Path. Yep, saw that coming. Getting kind of thin on the plains. So don't want Martyr. I think we'll get a Soul Warden and a Soul Attendant still. I think those are the right cards to get. And we're actually going to attack in with this. If our opponent wants to make a trade with a 1/1 that is perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I didn't think so. 14. We'd have a 3/2 out. We have another land, though. Unfortunately, this is where we like the Archangel Thune. Aether Vial is really late. See if it is a Lord that's coming down. There's the Lord. We are going to gain that life. Opponent's going to get in for possibly 6 this turn, but then will not block the backswing of the Ranger. And then we do get to gain the life off of the 2 Soul Attendants and Soul Warden. All right, so we get an Arctic Champion. That's great. So we'll throw out the Arctic Champion. And the Soul Warden. The Soul Attendant. Just go ahead and do the Flagstone Trickarooski to thin out our deck even more. Get a Plains for this one. And get the Misfail Plains for this one. And we'll just keep this in our hand. Attacking with the Ranger. We're not out of this, though, because our opponent does have... They throw out another Lord. They do have a pretty aggressive damage per turn. Like, we really, really, really need to be drawing into a Squadron Hawk. A Squadron Hawk, I think, just wins us the game. Ajani be pretty good, too, here. There's cards in my opponent's hand, though, that definitely could be held up. So, gaining some life here with the Unsettled Mariner. Not that big of a deal because it's on the ground. We taking a big hit here, but we do have the good old Ranger that can attack back in. Oh, and that's what I wanted. Should we go in for an attack first? Yeah. Just in case my opponent wants to flash something in, possibly. Like, what do we need to worry about here? Opponent's going to make a trade. This is huge if this hits. Huge, huge. Because we have the Misfail combo. Fill back up our hand with Squadron Hawks. We'll throw another one out. And put a Plains out, and I don't think we need to put the third one out this turn. We might as well. We just need to keep one in our hand to tutor up the others when they die. We're up to 29. Only 2 cards left in our opponent's hand. I'm not quite sure what the worst case scenario would be, like another Captain. Alright, so my opponent's just gonna... Ugh, gross. So, we unfortunately are just going to hang back as well. And maybe we can draw something besides a land. I mean, we don't have a lot of lands left. We have 1 more Ghost Quarter, 2 more Flagstones of Trocaire, and only a few Plains left in the deck. So we should start outdrawing our opponent. And it's definitely a stalemate with us with the board lead. Oh, we do have Windburst Heights. Don't forget about those. At least those are relevant. Force of Virtue might be the best card here rather than Arctic Champion. I'm going to go Force of Virtue. Any order on the rest of them. And we'll just leave the Squad Hawk in our hand. But this is going to get scary if my opponent can continue to find Lords. But we've both just drawn lands for the past 2 turns, so it hasn't been that relevant. There's another Lord. My opponent can start attacking in with now at least the Wanderer. But it's kind of a bad attack because I just gain a ton of life. And my opponent smartly decides not to do that. We will be attacking with the Squadron Hawks this turn. So we'll throw out good old Pridemate here, which might get Spellquoted. It does not. That's going to be a difficult card for my opponent to deal with. It might get Pathed. And then attack in with the good old Hawks, all three of them. And that's fine. We don't even care. So we'll go ahead and cast the Hideaway. And they die a miserable death. But we get those in. And we'll put a Squadron Hawk on the bottom of our graveyard. Cast a Squadron Hawk. And go and get the Squadron Hawk that's on the bottom. And gain a ton of life. And get a Ajani's Pridemate that's just absolutely massive. So, Path to Exile gets my opponent out of this scenario again. We are up to a lot of life, though. We can start chump blocking with Squadron Hawks if we choose to. Probably won't at this point. Opponent's just going to hold back. And there's another Windburst Heights. I mean, at least they're lands that get us stuff. And at this point, we'll just put Ajani. And go ahead. Put a Squadron Hawk on the bottom of the library. Cast a Squadron Hawk. And I need to learn how to stack these triggers better again. Shortcuts in the comment section below. Been forever since I played MTGO, so I have forgotten all the shortcuts. They're down here, but I don't see the right one that just auto stacks. Alright, so we're going to attack into the Pridemate. Don't think my opponent can, like, flash in a card and be big enough. Could be. I don't care, though. If my opponent wants to lose all their cards at that route, we just win the game. Oh, but then it can get indestructible with the Saris in it. Other than we do get a +1 swing counter, a bunch of +1 swing counters, so we still should be big enough on the Pridemate, I believe. Because then they have to sacrifice the Selfless Spirit. Yeah, so sacrificing the Selfless Spirit allows my Pridemate to live. Barely. Alright, decides to go on the Wanderer. Interesting block. On the big, well... And yeah, it's I don't see a card that can get my opponent out of this. It'll be interesting to actually play the Ajani Strength of Pride. Moorland Haunt is okay. There is some cards in my opponent's graveyard for Moorland Haunt. And we do want to double block, I would say, on one of the captains. And there's this. We don't even get to play our card. Sad days. I don't think we make any changes to this. I don't think Path to Exiles are necessary. I think they're a losing battle. I don't think Stony Silence is. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and submit it. So typically Soul Sisters does very good versus creatures-based decks. I don't think that this is going to be any exception for the spirits. Like one of the creature-based decks that was hard when I used to play Soul Sisters. I mean, it's been years and years. You can tell by naming this deck because I don't think it sees much play at all anymore. Was Merfolk. Merfolk was actually pretty rough for Soul Sisters. Other creature-based decks were very easy though. I'm gonna keep this. It's not ideal, but I mean, I mulled a 6. This is a good Squadron Hawk hand. We have the Spectral Processions. Not terrible, not good. We have the way to juggle. Wimber's Heights was a good draw. Very good draw. And we have the, of course, not the Squadron Hawk, so we'll put a Soul Attendant. Yuck. Underneath the Windburst Heights. At least we don't have to draw any of that junk until we do shuffle our library with the Squadron Hawk next turn. Supreme Phantom coming out. So let's go ahead and go with the Plains and Squadron Hawk. And go ahead and get one Squadron Hawk. I'm going to go get both of them. And then we'll have to discard, but that's fine. Just want them out of my deck. So going to be taking 1 damage here. Not a biggie. Opponent seems to be stuck on white. So we'll go ahead and throw out a Flagstones and attack in. Anything have flash in their deck? I don't even care if we actually get it out of their hand. That's fine. 19 all. Spectral Procession. And it is good. So there is the Hallowed Fountain. So now a Drogskol can come out and pump up the Supreme Phantom. I don't know if we care about getting a Wind Priest. Okay, Deputy of Detention. That's fine. It works. Gets rid of a card. That's fine. Let's go the Ranger. And actually, instead of getting a Martyr here, I think the proper thing is just to get 2 Soul Wardens. Because we're going to be needing some life gain here to hit up that Sarah's Ascendant. 16 to 18. We have potential lot of life coming next turn. Opponent has a handful of cards, though. And has burned a Deputy Detention, which I'm thinking they're going to want rather than these Spectral Processions. We have a Giver of Runes, which is pretty worthless in our yeah, we have no way to target anything. So going to be taking 2 here. And no counters, so we're free just to go crazy. Let's go with the Plains. We'll start off with a Soul Warden, and then a Soul Attendant, and then a Spectral Processions. Nope. Let's go Sarah Ascendant, because then we can attack the next turn. And then Squadron Hawk. And do we want to leave back blockers for like a Giver of Runes? Drogskol, we block with the Squadron Hawk. Just to save life, and we do want a blocker for the Deputy. I think that's actually the right call. Okay, so my opponent's going to be tacking in with Drogskol. Yeah, so I think we're just going to make the blocks to save the life total. Unfortunately, there's another Ghost Quarter. We'll play it. See if Spectral Processions can hit. This is probably make or break here. Spellcore would be awful. Yep. Is what it is. we are going to thin out the deck. Hopefully finding some relevant cards that can get us back into this. The good news is that we're going to be getting hit by a lot of damage. Oh, yes! Never mind! The Spectral Processions is not a relevant card that... Oh, so I can get my... Do I want to do this? Do I want to get Saracen up high enough? I'd have to attack in with all my Soul Warden Soul Attendants to get another Soul Attendant out. So I lose Soul Attendant, Soul Warden. No, I don't think it's worth it. To throw the last Squadron Hawk in the bin, we'd be done with Squadron Hawks. I'd get the 6/6 up. Tough. Tough decision. I'm just going to do it. So there's no way for me to use the old Squadron Hawks. I hope that doesn't end up being the... So I can attack here. Nope. We're just going to leave it back. The thing is, my opponent can just give one of their cards protection with the Giver of Runes, but that allows for a good backswing. We have a Ghost Quarter for the other Moorland Haunt. And we'll be preserving our life total with these spirits. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Deputy Attention should take the Sarah's Ascendant. Unfortunately, that's the case. My opponent's going to be coming in with the team, and we will make this trade for sure. Yeah. Oh, that was a bad block because of the Giver. Ha! Maybe I should learn these new cards. Takes him out here. The Giver is used. Jeez, we're all horrible in this game. Unfortunately, I think we're pretty much... We're drawn into bad cards. Need to draw into Ajani. Ghost Quarter here is fine. What can we put on the bottom? It doesn't even matter what we put on the bottom. Now, we can put Squadron Hawk. We'll start putting Squadron Hawks on the bottom because we can still draw into them. And that's a way that we can still hopefully get out of this. That was a stupid block on my part. Completely, I've been thinking about Giver of the Runes this entire time, and then I get distracted by, oh, I can make this acceptable block here. Womp womp. All right, so where are Ajani's? Pridemates aren't that good either. I mean, maybe I do bring in the Path to Exiles, but my opponent brought in so many Deputy of Detentions and Spell Quellers. I'll have to be playing Game 3 pretty quickly. Mutavault's a rough card for us to do. Who'd have the Ghost Quarter for it? So what do I need to draw? Ranger of Eos? Or Spectral... No, Ranger of Eos would be the card I do need to draw. A lot of damage coming through. Yeah, I do need paths in this matchup. Ranger's awesome here. Does Ranger actually get us to where we need to be? So it's going to gain us 2 life. So still Sarah Ascendant and not a Martyr, probably a Soul Attendant. This gains a 6 life, puts us up to 24. But then I don't have a way to get out. Fortunately, I think that's the play is another Soul Attendant. So we still need some help to draw into some cards. And we will cast the Ceres in it. So we have Ghost Quarter for the Mutavault. Actually, Mutavault has hexproof. Smarter ends up pretty weak in this. I can chump block a Mutavault. I don't think it's that. So how in the world I can't, even if I draw an Ajani's Pridemate, there's no way I can get up to that life total I need to. Or sorry, Ajani. Because Ajani needs to be up to 35. And I'm going to be hit by a lot here. We'll bring in the Path to Exiles. Have to take the Draw Skull Captains down. Everything flies. Taking a huge beating here. Down to a 3. Another Soul Warden is not going to do it. Okay, so let's go on to sideboard. We'll put in the Path to Exiles. Take out the Force of Virtues, possibly. I think they're actually pretty good. Take out the Martyrs. Yep. I'm actually take out the Martyrs because I don't think they're going to be relevant. Keeble hand, very Keeble hand, actually. Well, now I'm looking at it. 2 Windburst Heights. Ugh. We have double Ajani's Pridemates. We do have the Path to Exile, though, for the tension. I do have to play quickly here, so bear with me if I do or do not commentate. So our opponent is mulligan to 6 cards. So our opponent mulligans to 6 card and is definitely mulling over if they want to go to 5. So that's good news. And we don't have the best hand either. Okay, they do keep it. And, I mean, Windburst Heights is good turn 1. I will put a Ajani here on the bottom. And there's one of the Soul Attendants, unfortunately. And best case scenario is I actually draw another. There's Mausoleum Wanderer. I draw another a 1-drop here, so I can play Windburst Heights and play tap 2. Nope. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a Ajani's Pridemate without any way to gain life. So we're probably going to lose this one just for terrible variance with 7 Soul Sisters and getting the 2 Ajani's Pridemates. Ranger 2 is going to be weird. Windburst Heights not getting Spectral Procession is going to be weird. There's a lot of weird things that can happen in this game. Hopefully Lord doesn't come down. We get hit by 3 would be the worst case scenario, and most likely that's what looks like is going to happen. Nope, just a Selfless Spirit. Okay, that is doable. Another Ranger. Oh, when it rains, it pours. And those are all awful. I guess we'll put a Pridemate underneath it. And if my opponent wants to make a trade with an Ajani's Pridemate, I will absolutely make that trade. Opponent smartly does not. But the good news is I don't think we have a dead draw except for a Windburst Heights. Is the only dead draw. We want to get the Ranger Vioses to go get Soul Sisters. Another Lord here would be awful. There's the Mausoleum Wanderer. We're gonna need to. Yeah. I need to quit cursing myself. There's the Windburst Heights. Stupid. And we'll put a Ranger underneath it and go any order here. And this most likely will get countered with the... I mean, this still isn't that great of a play by Spectral Processions. Well, my opponent lets it happen. So, I mean, at least that's better than nothing. We're going to have to take a huge hit here so we can activate the Windburst Heights and get a Ranger. And then hopefully cast some things. Giver of Runes is okay. Really? It feels like... What can my opponent flash in? They can Path to Exile something. You know what? Let's go on the Selfless Spirit. Because we want 2 back. Because we want to be able to activate those. I only need 2 to do it. Rattle Chains. Gives it +1/+1? No. Okay, that actually works. Sort of. A Plains is actually decent here. Not really, though. I lose a card. Ranger doesn't really get me anything. I have to attack him with all of these. I lose the Spirit. Possibly lose a Pride Mate, but I can't block any of these anyway. So yes, I need to go for the Windburst Heights route. So we're going to go for a Soul Attendant and a Soul Warden. Path to Exile off the Supreme Phantom. My opponent allows it to happen rather than sacrificing the Mausoleum Wanderer. That's awesome. So we keep our Spirit alive. Again, I don't know how relevant that is, but I'm like, I need to use it on a Lord anyway. So we're going to go Soul Attendant and Soul Warden, gain a life, which puts us in very good position. My opponent activates Mute Vault, we block. Yeah, that's not threatening. Worst case scenario is Deputy of Detention, but it's not even that terrible of a play because we gain some life. Another Plains, but it's funny because this is actually a scenario where it's not terrible. So we're going to attack into all the ground creatures here. Well, the Ranger, the Ajani's Primate. We're attacking with everything. No, I'm going to keep back a blocker. Because Mutavault can get activated. Rattle Chains. Thing is, that gains me life. And my opponent has to block the 2 Pride Mates. Okay, so we will cast the Ajani's Pride Mate. That's fine. Go for it. which does 10 damage. Can't quite do the lethal with the Pride Mate because we have a Ajani that's there, unfortunately, so maybe I should have done that instead. Let's go ahead for the Ajani Strength of the Pride. Rattle Chains is fine. That means we probably need to just plus Ajani rather than put on Ajani's Pride Mate to put me over the top here. Because my opponent, what? To do 11 or to do 13 damage would need to... We need to do a lot. So we're going to cast the Ajani Strength of Pride. And I'm just going to plus. And there's the scoop. So anyway, that's all I have time today. These games actually lasted a lot longer than I thought. We'll have the remaining of the Soul Sisters tomorrow. So we're 2-0. We'll finish off the league tomorrow. I'm going to show you some other decks too. I've got an editor coming on that's going to be editing a lot of the gameplays that I'm going to do. So be expecting some Arena, more deck techs, and more MTGO. But I got to get this one out if I'm going to get out by the end of Tuesday. Whew, looking pretty close now. So I'm going to hurry and edit this video and get it out for you, and then you can come back tomorrow and see the conclusion of the Soul Sisters. So far, so good. Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.